What is a generative art studio? Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. Joining us from Portrait by Vana are co-founders Anna Kazlauskas and community manager Kayla Matthiesen. Hi, Kayla and Anna.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Let's start with you, I think, Anna. What is Vana and how is it different from some of the other AI imaging platforms that are out there?
So Vana is a user-owned data and AI ecosystem. We're building infrastructure for people to own the data that they create on the internet, and also the value that comes from that data, largely through AI models.
Describe for us how this came about and your very interesting thrust here.
I think that what we've seen with some new technologies that have emerged like over the past 5 to 10 years is especially with some of the decentralized technology, so like blockchain and cryptocurrency, which can have a little bit of a bad name today, but really it's this fundamental tech that can help to shift power back towards the people. So I was really interested in central banks and digital currencies, and back in 2015, I was able to start mining Ethereum from my dorm room, which was essentially running a decentralized central bank, right? And using that distributed tech to shift power towards the individual. So essentially what we're doing at Vana is using that same power and sort of like power shifting technology to take data and put it in the hands of people, especially during this wave of generative AI where so much new stuff is being created, right? So right now, there's no company that holds the AI model of yourself, right? That can like create infinite portraits of me or infinite portraits of you. And so what we're doing is essentially putting that AI model in the hands of every individual.
And when we say it's doing AI portraits, what's going on behind the scenes? People upload, I think it's 8 pictures to your site, and then some magic happens. Describe that for us.
That is essentially the experience. It is quite magical. I think we've moved from a time where AI could do things like categorize things or make simple predictions to actually having it be able to create artwork and really like unleash people's creativity. In terms of what's happening from kind of a technical perspective, so essentially there are these large AI models, and some of them are trained on first many images from the internet, so 2 billion images from the internet, and then you're able to customize it using just 8 images of yourself, and it starts to understand kind of what your visual likeness is, right? So what does your face look like? It's also picking up a little bit on kind of what is your style like. So for example, me and my sister look pretty similar, but I wear a lot of kind of like hoodies and just like, I'm not usually very dressed up, whereas my sister's wearing nice sweaters. So our portraits also look somewhat different because it picks up on that style too.
I'm going to share a screen here to give people an idea of what you can do with someone like me. So here is a photo that looks nothing like this that I uploaded. You get multiple images back, and people can download these. And how does it come up with these images? And as you can see, it's very capable of growing hair too.
So in terms of how it's able to create these images is because we have this new wave of like generative AI where it can actually create new things, what it's doing is it's taking its understanding of you and then it can create you in any style. So we have some styles that are built into portrait. This I think is the cyberpunk style. We have kind of a painting type style as well. And we're actually working on some features coming out soon that will allow for many different kinds of styles and also collaborating with artists for those styles as well.
Well, here's another, which I kind of like this. I used to have hair like that.
Awesome. Yeah. You can time travel, you know?
And then I'm getting ready in the North Pole with this one. So, so Kayla, let's bring you into this. As a community manager, what are you hearing from users? How are people making use of this?
So we actually are seeing a lot of people using it as their profile pictures on their social media, Also, a lot of people have been using it as their headshots for work and for LinkedIn profiles. We've had a lot of requests for people asking if they can use it for their company's headshots even. So things like people have been also asking to use it for their merchandise. We've had a couple of performers ask to use it as their merchandise. We've had some musicians ask if they can use it on their album covers. So we are encouraging anyone to use the portraits however they want. It's their portraits, it's your likeness. And we're happy to support you and see what you guys can do with it. But it seems like everyone's very happy to be included in such new technology. And everyone really seems to enjoy that. It really brings out your strong features. I know that some of the other portrait apps we've been told that they seem to change your features and make them a little more just washed out. And people have been saying that they really like that the portrait can really bring out things like a strong nose or your strong ethnic features, or even people get like their hair, it's changed. It's fun to watch everyone really enjoy the models and portraits that they're getting.
And you're saying, Anna, that people own their own images here. So are you not storing them at all, or what's people download them? And
Yeah, that's a good question. So essentially, what we're building is, and I think at the end of the day, like if you have your image and you have your model, like you need somewhere to store it. And so it doesn't make sense to hand it over and have people like print it out or keep it in like a safety deposit box at the bank, because that's not how digital products are used these days. And so actually, something that we'll be releasing and kind of exposing a little bit more to users in the coming year or so is actually a way for them to securely store their data in a way that's fully under their control. We have a patent pending for some of this work that basically allows you to set up a way that you can hold your data just under your control without having to set a whole bunch of servers, et cetera, up.
that's interesting. So not just these images, you're talking about all kinds of data then.
Exactly. Yeah, all kinds of data, ranging from fitness data to the way that you like to speak, to the way that even like a model of your voice. Yeah.
And what else might you be doing with AI?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's so early in AI's journey that even like today, speculating, like, I think we're going to not be able to predict the future. But I think that as you go throughout the internet, having AI really as a tool to personalize your experience, right? So like you can log into a fashion website and see yourself with all the different clothes that you're browsing, et cetera, to something like even more wild, where like as we start to move into more of like a digital universe, like I could even be just the AI model of myself rather than a video stream and change it depending on how I'm feeling in a given day. Yeah, I think also summarization tools. So like a model that understands exactly how I like to consume information, that can go and browse the internet for me. It can read research papers, et cetera, and then it can come back and explain it to me in just the way that I like.
Now, as you mentioned before, you've worked in economics research. So I assume this is a money-making venture. Tell me how this gets monetized.
Yeah, that's a great question. Our mission is to shift the flow of data for a more prosperous world. So we're essentially building this kind of technology infrastructure in order for users to really own their data. In terms of how we go about monetizing, to be honest, with Portrait, it was free initially, and we saw way too much interest and it took down our servers. And so we had to get more servers and start giving people the option to pay if they'd like. And so that's for the Portrait app specifically. But the way that it works long-term is essentially a transaction fee for people to cover their costs of the data that they're hosting and that they're bringing with them throughout the internet.
And you have a co-founder as well, who's an attorney, I understand?
Yeah. Arthur, who goes by Art, comes from a legal background. And we met back when I was in undergrad at MIT and he was in grad school at Harvard. And we were building out some early tools for people to be able to kind of hold data on their phone and earn money from it.
Is there any limit to how many photos people can play with here? with different expressions and such?
It's actually it is truly an infinite art gallery. Like the limit, I guess, is like the human and imagination combined with the AI's imagination. But you can have like millions and millions of photos from this same your model of yourself. I guess the limiting factor would perhaps be we could run out of GPUs on the planet, which is the specialized servers that the AI models need to run on.
Kayla, describe for us the user experience here. Step us through how people can I want to say play with this, which is, I guess, what it is.
Yeah, so first you would just go to our portrait site. It's different from our actual website. So you'd go to portrait.vana.com, and then you're prompted to upload 8 to 10 different images of yourself. And we would like users to use different angles and different sides of your face showing, because the AI needs to be trained in order to see all sides of your face. So if you just take a bunch of front-facing selfies, the technology might not be able to like figure out what the side profile of your face looks like as easily. So we recommend that people take photos like from all angles for that reason. And then, yeah, you just submit it, and then you can either pay or not pay. We just had to implement that paywall really recently. And then we send you your email with your gallery. It's pretty simple for the user experience.
And how long does that typically take to get the images back?
Well, that depends on if you can opt in to pay or not. If you can opt in to pay, the cost of the computing to create the portraits, it's about 2 to 4 hours, I think, is our timeline right now. And if you choose the community program option, which we started to offer for people who want the free experience, we're actually putting them on a wait list as of right now, and we're using people's generosity. They can do a pay it forward option also, where they choose to pay for the portraits of an extra user. So that's also an option. You can pay for yourself and for a community member who can't afford it or chooses not to pay at that time. So the people who are on the community free program, they get put into a wait list. And we're saying it's about a 2 to 3 week period, only because they're on a wait list. And so you could get your portraits a lot quicker, but if you're not, you're on the wait list. But we are actually in the works of creating a learning quest so that community members who go onto the wait list can actually just do a little bit of learning about AI, and then they get fast tracked and they can get their portraits within 24 hours of completing the learning quest. So it's all a work in progress. And as more people have signed on, we've had to definitely change the timeline expectations. But it seems like people are still really eager to sign up. So we're hoping to get it to them as quick as we can.
And I'm paying by learning. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So instead of like making you watch an ad or something to get your portraits quicker, we're actually creating it's almost like a little mini class. It's like just a little class where we've created some curriculum where you learn about AI and learn about Vana. And if you can get through that, we will take you off the wait list and you'll get your portraits within 24 hours instead of like an allotted 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And what is there a suggested amount that you're asking people to pay, those who opt to?
Yeah, if you pay, it's about, I think right now it's at $476, and it's just covers the cost it takes for us to create those portraits. I know Anna knows more about that a little bit more, but yeah, it's just to cover the costs. And then you could pay double, and then it would help take someone off the wait list if that's an option too, you could do.
Very interesting. So Anna, what's next? You have this out there for people. Yeah. What are people going to be seeing from you next?
Yeah, so I think there's so much you can do once you have this model that's trained to create you in infinite styles, right? And that's kind of, you're asking about kind of how far can it go? Like it can really do it can have so many different styles. And so we've got some projects in the works that involve some collaborations with artists for some of those styles specifically. That's also kind of a revenue generating opportunity for those artists. So that's something that's in the works that we're pretty excited about. I think also giving people a lot of control over exactly the portraits and kind of letting anyone make any style that they can dream of. And then starting to allow people to bring their AI self with them, this kind of model of what you look like throughout the internet, right? So you can log into different applications and actually use that, whether it's to visualize yourself like accomplishing a goal or to just picture yourself in a new way. So those are some of the things in the works that we're pretty excited about.
Very interesting. Once again, where are the best places for people to go for more info?
Portrait.vana.com if they want to try out the Portrait app, and Vana.com to learn more about kind of the broader mission.
Tell me a little bit about the name. It's VANA, by the way.
Yeah, VANA. And it comes from Nirvana in reference to kind of liberating people's data.
Terrific. Again, it's portrait.vana.com. Kayla, Matthiesen, and Anna Kazlauskas, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much.